come here.
Hey, thanks for joining. Today we're going to be drawing a gecko, and we're going to be using Derwent Coloursoft on watercolour paper. Okay, let's dive straight in. I think the head would be a good place to start, so start over here, and essentially what we're going to do is just like a U shape, or more like a soft V with rounded edges. And we're going to leave a little gap here. That's where the eye is going to go. And we're just going to round it off and bring it in to about there. Yeah. And we're just going to round it off here like that. Now, what we're going to do next is just get a sense of how long the body should be and the tail. The body is probably about 1.5 times the head. So if you measure the head like that, bring it to there, and then probably about to there. We put a little mark down there roughly. Yeah. And then the tail's probably going to be actually about the length of the body. Drop it a bit because we want the tail to swing round. So where was I? I was about there, wasn't I? It doesn't matter too much. Let's do that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go right from the middle here, and we're just going to draw one very faint line to about there. And where did I put my mark? I've actually lost it. It was there, wasn't it? And we're going to continue it down, all the way down there, like that. Very faint line. And you might be thinking, hold up, we didn't come here to draw stick figures. Don't worry, that will all become clear later. This line, this faint line here is just to help us anchor in the proportions. Use that as a guide, this line here. It sort of helps with symmetry a bit. But the angle of this gecko, we're sort of looking up at him. He's probably on the wall, just crept in from behind the curtain. So on this side, it's going to be it's not going to be quite symmetrical, but let's just start. Here we're going to do like a little, it's where the sort of shoulder bone is, I guess. It's going to kind of collapse in like that. And then from about here, we're just going to bring it out to its belly. And bring it right round to where we had that initial line here, which is kind of the butt. I'm trying to keep my hand quite loose, and you don't want to, you kind of want to work outwards, because these lines are so faint that you can cover them up later. You don't want to make a mistake, say, of starting out here, which is way above the head. Hey, I'm actually thinking this body may be a little bit too small, perhaps. So we're going to just move it out again. Let's think about where the legs are going to go. So I'm just going to do an indication line there like that, and up here, kind of the. I think actually we're going to use a little bit of creative license here and just bring that out a bit more. Like that. You're just feeling your way, really. You're not applying too much pressure. You're just keeping your hand loose, and you're kind of just feeling your way around. At the back, we're going to try, I think what we'll do here is we're going to do like a bow shape all the way like that. So you kind of, these are the back legs here. You kind of got this nice continuous curve like that. This leg is right up against the body. So let's bring it around like that and like that. Yeah, that's not too bad. And then you can do the other side there. And kind of, yeah, just define that a little bit more. There we go. Nice. And then over here, similar width, back legs, maybe slightly chunkier. Gonna go up to about here, I think. Not too far away, and then bring it back round like that. And the other side. Okay. All right, not too bad. Probably thousands of ways to draw a gecko, and this is just one of them. So we've got that line, remember, the spine, using that as a guide. Now, let's go on to the tail. It comes to about here. So you've got your faint line there, so just maybe do a little line there, and then we're just going to try and bring it to that tip, like that. The gecko's tails tend to be a bit chunky right as they come out, so maybe just have it coming out a bit and then back in. Being really cautious at this stage. We're not pressing too hard. We're just kind of feeling our way into the piece. Little hair there, what's that doing there? Yeah, all right, that's not too bad for the shape. Yeah, this gecko's got poise now. It's ready for action. Let's go back to the eye. Now at this point my hand was covering the area I was working on and you couldn't see what I was doing. Sorry about that. You imagine there's a light probably shining down from here, up here somewhere, or on the ceiling. So it's going to be a slight shadow cast on this side of the body, but not much of a shadow because the geckos tend to get pretty close to the ground. Defining those lines with a bit more confidence now that we have the guidelines in place. There we go. All right, sorry, I've got a bit of a cold, so you might hear me sniffling. So let's just, return to the eye. I was getting a bit carried away there. Nope, still haven't resolved the issue. I tell you what, we'll come back to the eye later. But since you're here, why not subscribe? And then you'll never miss a thing. Okay, let's do the fingers without thinking too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Let's do it on this side. That's about right. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. I've got a pretty good outline there. Looking okay. So next stage. We're going to colour it in a bit. This is only the second time I've used these pencils, so it's quite new to me as well. Usually I use pastel pencils, which are a lot softer. These ones slightly harder tips. I'm sort of moving in circular motions, each to their own really. You might want to do more crosshair type like that, but cross-hatching I think it's called. I just kind of, go in circles like this. Feeling your way around. I mean, geckos aren't that chunky, they're fairly flat like we were saying, but they're still, they're not completely flat like a pancake, so I'm going to do a few bands like this, just very faint bands that kind of go out towards the butt and back in like that. And do one here, like that. Just very faint bands. Helps give it a bit more form and weight. Right, what next? Now I picked up this one, light chin green. Let's see how that looks. Actually, I quite like this. Let's go with this. So on this side, let's just go over those lines we've already drawn. And we're going to make it a little bit bumpy this time, like this. There is a word for these bumps, which has escaped me, but I can add it in later. And let's do the same here. Not so bumpy there, but just hinting at it really. Just tweak, tweak, tweak. Yeah. Kind of comes in, remember, and then the shoulder sort of just goes out ever so slightly back in. So whereas here you've got more of a continuous curve like that, here you kind of got a little curve, a little bump, and then another curve like that. Here's the traffic outside. It's a miserable day here, so just ideal to be inside doodling. My happy place. It's so good for your mental health, I find. Engaging in a bit of art, just some time to yourself, shutting out from everything else and doing something creative. So now we're just defining basically those lines we put down earlier, and we're being a bit, because we've got the guidelines, we can be a bit more accurate. Nice. And sometimes you see I might be doing like this before I put any mark down. It's like if you're playing sport, you know, it's just the warm-up, or a golf swing. You do the practice swing like this. That's what I'm doing all the time, little practice swings before I actually put pencil to paper. I'd maybe actually do a non-continuous line. That might be a nice way to do it. More like dashes. Yeah, that works quite well actually. Okay, let's go back to the head here. On this side, we're just going to make that a bit darker. Bring it round where we've been before. And then we'll do it on this side too, but just lighter, not pressing quite as hard. Yeah, like I said, it's all about pressure. I've got a few exercises in mind that I might share with you. It's all about pressure. Pressure and becoming comfortable with that pencil in your hand. Now we've got the outline quite nicely done, we can start building up a bit of form, and these geckos are got lovely patterns, and it's kind of curving towards the eyes, basically like that. Yeah, it's quite nice, this colour actually. I think it kind of works with this the baby blue that we used for the base layer. We might have to put this on pause. So I was reviewing the footage just now whilst all that building work was going on, and I realised when I was drawing the eyes, you couldn't actually see what I was doing because I was covering it with my hand. So I thought I'd just quickly go over that again with the eyes here, kind of a squashed, what's it saying, a squashed circle, slightly more rounded on that side, and then a bit flatter, almost completely flat, but not quite. And what I was saying was, don't fill in everything. Leave a little bit on either side like that, because that sort of creates the reflections a little bit in the eye here. And on this one, same thing, slightly flatter here like that. And yeah, the sort of the edge of the lens, I guess, in the eye, very soft, and then you almost mirroring that line like this in there. So you've got a nice band of light here, and you're just filling that in nice and dark like that. Put that indigo down. Let's pick up that lovely lichen green again. This one. What we're going to do is about there, so in the middle of these two lines. We're going to do one line coming to about here where the eye sockets begin, and then we're going to go in. We're going to go in like that. We'll do the same on the other side, inwards like that, creating like a V, another V there. And then that comes to about the edge of the eye socket here, and we're going to go back in line with this. So if you imagine an invisible line across there to about here, put a little mark, and then we'll do another line. And do you know what? You don't have to make them straight lines. You can do them wobbly lines, whatever, like that. You do it wobbly, it'll look more realistic. So wobbly line there, and we'll join these up. This goes out like that's a bit, and we'll join this one up, wobbly, and from there to there, wobbly. And you're just dabbing, really. You're not doing a firm line. Like that. Nice. It's just very tricky when you're working off reference to create that 3D effect. It's quite easy to make it look too flat. So by curving your lines like that, it helps make it look a little bit more 3D. Slowly but surely. Just define those eye sockets a bit more. So let's do quite a dark line here. Bring it to about there. And then that's where the eye socket kind of comes in on it. Can you see? Yeah. I'm just a bit conscious now because of the mistakes I made earlier on, so I want you to be able to see everything, especially this fine detail. So we kind of got that eye socket. Remember, it goes in there and then round. Just to bring it out a little bit more to make it clearer where it is. This is darker here, and do this darker because remember there's the light coming from here. This area is in the shadows. This is one of the exercises I was thinking about doing. Aeroplane taking off, you get dark and then you try and as you kind of move up the line, you apply less pressure, so it's a softer line at the end. So you've got this line here like that coming around the outline, and then the top line, which is higher up, and so it kind of mirrors it like that, and then it swings around and joining up there. You see? Really, really faint. In fact, you're almost just putting down little dots, really, like that. So very subtle, but yeah, it's helping lift it. So remember we did those little soft lines with the blue. Let's find where those were and then just go over them with this darker color. You work at your own pace. Because I'm narrating, I'm probably a bit slow. I haven't quite got into that flow. Like I said, it's all very new to me, so just getting used to talking whilst I work, which is not something I ever do. Quite a silent worker, usually just in the studio listening to the radio or a bit of music. I've only recently discovered that music is just fantastic to listen to whilst you work. It's a funny thing, sometimes the melody of a song that you know kind of takes control of your hand and you really get into that flow state. Sometimes I'm touching the page, sometimes I'm not, sometimes just getting, like we said before, that sort of practice swing. We put a couple of dark ones down there, like that. That's where it comes down. So yeah, there we go. Define that line a bit more. Here comes a sniff. Oh, I should really blow my nose. Amy's always telling me to blow my nose. Don't sniff it, blow it. She's right. So we're just lifting it slowly, slowly. And I think we might go back to the blue. Just a little bit more of that colour in there. Darken it up. The darker you do it, the more form it takes. The more lifelike it becomes. Follow the shape around like so. Okay. Now, what next? Okay, let's do the legs. We just follow the shape of those lines a bit like that. And the little toes, so here we go. We've got they go out. They're sort of, what are they like? They're like matchsticks, really. Slightly chunkier at the end, like that. Kind of comes right back in, and then a little like that. Really following those lines that we put down earlier with great confidence. Some confidence. Not always that confident, but that's not too bad. I think what we'll do as well, let's give these toes a little bit of texture. So can you see what I'm doing there? Yeah. We're just going to put a little line in there, the band, like that. Actually just two of them, and we're going to do the same on this one, like that. And about there. I think actually this needs to be, this is kind of, yeah, it needs to be a little bit fatter and kind of coming in before it turns round like that. Yeah, so just making that leg slightly bigger, and kind of comes in here where it bends, and that line up to there. So I haven't put much blue into the legs. Instead, I think we're going to try this ochre. I believe that's how you pronounce it, ochre. I mean, this might not be the right colour, but you know what? We've committed, so let's keep going. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's kind of nice actually. And we're just very, very gently feeling our way down the leg. I like it. And then we'll probably use this colour again on the body, so it's not too jarring. But I like this blue. I like having that blue base layer in there. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on each of the other legs. I'll zoom out for this bit and speed it up because we need to save time. Nice, right. Sticking with this one, let's build a little bit of this into the body as well. Along that line, darker line of blue that we had before, let's just go in circles like this. I guess I'm just adding this to the edges, really. Leaving this middle section largely untouched. Okay, I keep doing this because this is what I do to blend with my pastel pencils, but doesn't quite work so much with these ones. To an extent it does. All right, that's not looking too bad actually. We're getting there. Maybe we should now just go even to a darker pencil just to lift it up even more. Let's go for darker brown. Back to the head, and from about there, the tip of the snout, we're going to just darken up this line even more. So, and like that. Remember, not one continuous line. Just feel our way into it. So, yeah, to about there. We've got the eye socket. Start of the eye socket, and then let's go onto this side, bypass the eye. Yeah, and then we're just making that line even darker. The light has been blocked by this this part of the body here, but once it comes out to about there, the light's catching it again. So let's darken up that little area there. Do the same down here on this side of the thigh. There's a little shadow here because this, imagine this elbow is slightly lifted. So what we're going to do is create that shadow, just like that. Don't want to stray too far away from your initial line that you put down there, but just need to just make it like so that this bit here, right here, is the curve of this bit, the elbow. So I'm going to remember the light's shining here, so it's casting a shadow just underneath. We're only seeing the shadows on this side. So that's already looking pretty good. We've probably now got the base layer done. There is still a lot more you can do to this to make it look even more realistic, a lot more detailing, but that will take a long time, so probably haven't got time for that for the purpose of this video. But just taking it up to the base layer is a good start, and I'll do a little bit of detailing around here just to give you an idea of how to take it forward. This is probably something I might do for my patrons, is to show you the next stage. Essentially, with drawing, I'm layering and building it up, working largely light to dark. So let's do a little bit of detailing here. I have actually now looked up what these little bumps are called. They're called tubercles, and essentially they're like little fleshy nodules, warty growths. This species of gecko has a lot of them, and gives it more of a spiny appearance. Some geckos are smooth, others are textured. I've learned that there are so many geckos, apparently the most abundant of the lizards. It was actually a friend of mine's boy who suggested I draw a gecko. It's his favourite animal. That's Benji. Benji's just recently turned 6 and is really into drawing, which is just music to my ears. I love it when I hear about a young person that's interested in drawing and animals. Just takes me right back to my childhood. I was very much the same, and still am now. Haven't changed in over 30 years. I still love nothing more than being in the studio with my pencils, drawing an animal. That is very much my happy place. So thanks very much, Benji, for the suggestion. I hope this video has been helpful to you. We're doing a little bit of detailing here. I've gone back to the lichen green. So I'm just working in this area here for now. You'll probably want to do this across the whole piece, but like I said, we haven't really got time for that. So just showing you what you can do to help lift it and get it looking even more 3D. So we'll take a darker color, and let's take this one for example. Remember, always thinking about where the light is. So we're just going to outline the bottom section like that, and not do it on the top. And we're going to do the same again here. Just the bottom section like that, and leave the top as it was. And you get the idea. So there you go. Now let's go back to the green quickly, because we want to maybe just refine the shape of the head. So we're just going to put a little bit more colour in between these nodules. Again, I'm just dabbing the pencil down on the page. Let's make it a little bit darker down here. This is just going to make that head pop, and yeah, lift it off the page. So just, yeah, like so. Anyway, and you can keep doing that across the rest of the body. But already, look, you've got a nice gecko, a good start. And hopefully this was helpful. Thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Yeah? High five. No? Good boy.